What's happening, guys? This is James Blonde, and unfortunately EA made us take down our Command & Conquer Alpha preview. Apparently there was a misunderstanding and we weren't supposed to film as much as we did. So I figured I'd just recap what we talked about and learned during the press event with the Visceral Game developers at the show over some of their gameplay trailers instead. So starting off, as you might already know, the game takes place in the Generals universe with three factions: the European Union, the Asian Pacific Alliance, and the Global Liberation Army, also commonly known as the Terrorists. The game is set up a bit more like Generals Zero Hour, the expansion of the original Generals, where you have multiple generals for each of the three major factions. So essentially it breaks it down into sub-factions. Each general has a special feature, ability, or strategy that they use in order to change the way they play on the battlefield. Usually it's something that affects the units and the super weapons in their armies. So during the press event, I chose Dr. Thrax. Now he was pretty fun to play back in the original game, and he specializes in toxins. So of course his special weapon is a toxin bomb, but there are also plenty of other units that use abilities based around the biochemical warfare. And there are currently 2 generals per faction, but since the game is going to be free to play and massively multiplayer, the cash shop is based around purchasing new generals and cosmetic upgrades and changes. From what they said, they plan to not have cash specific items in the cash shop, and all the players will be able to unlock everything for free if they put the time into it. And some of you may already know, but the game runs on the Frostbite engine, and it uses different elements from the various Frostbite engines. And so what they've done is they've utilized it in a way that really shows the detail and the textures in the environment, the animations in the buildings as they're being constructed, and of course the huge explosions with a lot of demolition, a lot of debris flying around everywhere. It just looks really, really nice. They've also changed up the UI quite a bit to take advantage of the visuals, so it seems to be a really nice and organized version of what they had before, but with like a clear tabs-based menu system. I think I'm going to like it a lot. The gameplay speed seems a little bit faster than Generals, and there are plenty of elements that players learn to love about all of the Command & Conquer titles within the game, from garrisoning the buildings to the layered terrain and the tech upgrades to all the buildings and units. And it actually felt like I was actually playing a C&C game, which I was totally looking forward to and very excited to experience. And so while I was talking to the developers, I did ask them if there was going to be any naval units, because I haven't seen any sort of naval units in the trailers, and the naval units were really cool in Red Alert 3. And they planned on implementing them into the game, but they're still a little ways from that, and they're also planning on adding plenty of Air Force units, which we actually do get to see in the trailers. The developers were telling us that their primary focus was to create a game so that it feels like players are playing the latest Command & Conquer title that they used to pick up off the shelf for about $60, but make it free to play, massively multiplayer, and persistent with constant changes based around community feedback. And based on what I experienced at the show, I definitely feel that they're beginning to do just that. And so I asked if they planned on having a single-player campaign just as all the games before have had. And they said yes, even though the game is focused around multiplayer, they still want to provide that single-player story campaign for those who hope to see that.
Can I have some shoes?
And so before ending our preview at the show, I was dying to ask one final important question, and that was that seeing that this game takes place in the Generals universe, what do you guys have in store for the Red Alert universe, with the Tiberium universe? Well, my friends, they had an answer I was looking for. Apparently the reason why this game is called Command & Conquer and not Generals 2 is because once they get this game rolling and the show is on the road, they plan to reboot the entire series. Now I'm not sure, or well hell, they're not even sure, if it's going to be separate titles or one game that gives players the universe they want to play in or what. All I can say is that we'll be seeing more GDI, more NOD, more Allies and Soviets, hell, maybe even Yuri, and it's all going to look badass and be fun to play. Hopefully, these guys are really serious about sticking to their traditional style, going back to their roots, and making this game as awesome as it used to be. But with that cool announcement, that's all we've got right now for the new Command & Conquer. Beta is coming, hopefully soon, so keep a lookout for our future coverage on C&C. Thanks for watching. Until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.
Thank you for the new shoes.